once we put that in practice, in the follow-up sessions, what we realized is that to start off with, they were getting around about a 30% connection rate to new leads, but with having somebody in charge of calling leads immediately upon the lead actually coming into their inbox, which was happening from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m, they went from a 30% connection rate to an 80% connection rate. And of course, their conversions were pretty good.
Welcome to the Master Dealmakers Secrets podcast. And now, here's sales growth strategist, John Blake.
Welcome to Master Dealmakers Secrets. I'm John Blake. This is episode 232. And today we are going to talk about a real-life case study of a client that I worked with recently that contains a particularly powerful message around conversion and increasing sales. But before we do that, I want you to head over to johnblakeaudio.com. And what you're going to get there is the exact system that I install with clients that I work with to help them to double the conversions that they get with people that they've already spoken to, that they've made an offer to, but the people haven't bought yet. In most cases, in most businesses that I talk to, there are a huge list of people who have been made an offer but haven't bought. And this is how to keep in contact with them over a 90-day period and between 90 days and 120 days in a way that you will be able to double the number of people that convert. And the reason why is that most business owners, most salespeople give up way too early. I think it's about 15 to 20% on average of people who inquire will buy within 90 days, but a further 30 to 35% of people will buy between 90 days and 2 years. So there's a really, really strong business case for doing this. It is at johnblakeaudio.com. Go grab it, put it in practice. There'll be a 15-minute audio as well as a PDF guide that has the exact word-for-word scripts, exactly what to write in your emails, exactly what to say when you call over a 90-day period to maximize those conversions. It's at johnblakeaudio.com. Go grab it, put it in practice, and let me know how you go with it. Righto. So I'm going to share a case study, a recent case study with a client. And the thing I love about this particular case study is that it shows you what is possible at scale. It shows you what is possible at scale. And it shows you that there sometimes are the smallest hinges that swing the biggest doors in business. You can make one or two minor tweaks and suddenly you can end up in a whole other destination. So to give you a bit of background, this particular client came to me. They wanted to do training with their reps. They've got about 7 or 8 reps across the country in different states, and they are investing a 6-figure sum in marketing per month. So it is certainly not an insignificant amount of money that they're investing in digital marketing per month to create a whole bunch of opportunities. So to start off with, when we did their diagnostic, I realized that their conversions, once they actually got to talk to someone, were actually pretty good. I think they were north of 40%, maybe even a little bit higher. But it wasn't necessarily once they were talking to potential clients that was the problem. The problem was that they were not engaging very many of the digital leads that they were generating at all. And so on closer inspection, what we discovered was that they had a central inbox. So there was about 8, as I said, there's 8 salespeople, and they all had access to this central inbox. And the system that they had was that you could go in. They were selling a rural product, right? So they were selling primarily a rural product that would go to farms and people that had provincial type size properties. And so what would happen is that the salesperson would go into this central inbox and they would effectively just choose whatever leads that they wanted to contact. And there wasn't a particular system that was at play here. The agreement or the system, by default system, was that you went into the central inbox and you had a look at what was there, and you could choose to pretty much call whoever you wanted to call. And so what I pointed out to them is the speed at which leads atrophy. So if you've been listening to me for longer than a few episodes, you probably would have heard me talk about the fact that if you get back to leads within 5 minutes, you're actually 9 times more likely to convert them. But the opposite is also true. Like after 5 minutes, after 30 minutes, even after an hour, after a day, the likelihood of you getting hold of that lead plummets. Like it absolutely goes through the floor. So what we started with was to help the reps understand the importance of getting back to people quickly. And then what we did was something quite revolutionary. So we talk about a small hinge that swung a massive door. What we did is we looked at having somebody in charge and because they were open from 7 in the morning until 7 at night across the country, depending on which time zone you were in. But they had somebody manning that inbox consistently across the whole day. So there were 2 or 3 people across the whole day that would be in charge of, as soon as that lead came in, getting on the phone and calling them straight away. If they can't get them on the phone, send them an email. If you can't send them, if they don't respond to the email, send them a text message. So they were calling probably 2 or 3 times within the first hour, which is the gold standard, to try to get a hold of the person, as well as sending email communication and a text communication, because it's that first hour that's crucial in terms of getting hold of a digital lead. And so we obviously, what you write in those emails and what you write and the actual wording of those emails and the wording of those text messages is critically important. And so obviously we put a lot of work into wordsmithing what we were sending on email, wordsmithing what we were sending on text, and then obviously the framework for talking to them and creating that engagement so that we could get them on the phone. Once we put that in practice, in the follow-up sessions, what we realized is that to start off with, they were getting around about a 30% connection rate to new leads, but with having somebody in charge of calling leads immediately upon the lead actually coming into their inbox, which was happening from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m., they went from a 30% connection rate to an 80% connection rate. And of course, their conversions were pretty good. And so what that meant is that they went from doing roughly 500,000 or 600,000 per week to having consistent $1 million weeks. So it shows you what is possible when you put focus upon a couple of simple moves that can move the needle. And as I said before, small hinges can swing big doors. So obviously the things that, I guess to summarize, the main things is that understanding the importance of getting back to leads quickly, that was crucial. The second thing was having somebody to effectively triage all of the inquiries from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. And once they did that, they were able to actually talk to a higher percentage of the leads that they were investing in, and they were then conversely able to convert a lot more of them into paying clients. So such a classic example of looking at a sales system and knowing specifically what needed to be tweaked to give them the best outcome possible. If you have got a business, if you are paying for leads, or even if you've just got organic leads coming into your business and you want some input as to how you can convert more of them at the prices that you want to charge without discounting, let me know. best way to get in contact with me, given that I know that a lot of people are probably listening to this in the car, would be to do a search on Google for John Blake Sales. I will come up, just fill out a contact form and get in contact with me. And we can begin that process. But again, thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you on the next podcast.
You've been listening to Master Dealmaker Secrets with John Blake. Subscribe to get more in-depth strategies and maximize your sales process with new episodes every other week. And double your inquiry to sale conversion with the lead flow you already have. Go to johnblakeaudio.com for his exclusive, free, no fluff audio training and companion PDF guide.